So today we're going to go through a budget template to be able to use on Google Sheets. So we're actually going to hop on the computer so you can follow along in real time. Now this is actually a budget template that I put together several years ago actually when I first started this YouTube channel. And I pretty much had it all set up in Google Sheets. Now for us in this template, I want to kind of just briefly break some of this information down. You can see right over here, first and foremost, we have our income section, which we have budgeted, and then our actual, as well as the difference. So that way if things are off, we can actually be able to see that by a visual. So I'll put in some numbers here in just a little bit. Obviously for income, we have like regular, side hustles, and potentially some other. And then we also have, scrolled a little too far there, our cost of living, obviously budgeted and actual as well. Same thing with the difference. And the next couple things we have here, I think are a little bit different than what I've seen other people put in their budget templates. Obviously, just in general for cost of living, all of these things are just, temporary plugins. You can change all of those things. But if we actually come down here, I wanted to make sure that we also had a space to be able to put any debts. So if you have car loans, credit card debts, any other type of debts that you want to have in here, you can put the minimum balance and possibly the additional balance you put above that, and obviously what the difference is, and then the remaining. Now the remaining you would have to just manually adjust yourself every single month, and then the new balance on there will be reflected based off of your actual. The next up here is going to be a sinking fund. So this is if you have things like an emergency fund, a Christmas fund, or any other kind of fund that you want to put together, how much you're budgeting for that month to put in, and how much you actually put in, prior balance, and then of course the new balance. And again, these things are adjusted automatically based off of what you put in the actuals. And then again, here's some other things I don't really see a lot of other people kind of talk about. So we have our investing / retirement right over here. So this is if we want to be putting into an IRA or into like a taxable account or any other kind of investments. We definitely want to be tracking this. And if you're somebody who maybe follows along with Dave Ramsey, or any of these other people that really focus in on paying off the debt before you start any kind of investment, sometimes that can be a little overwhelming because by the time you get to a point where you can invest, you have a lot more money available to you with that new cash flow, but you haven't had any experience yet. I'm a believer in being able to get started with just maybe like $10, $20 a paycheck to put into an investment so you can actually have some understanding on how it all functions and works. That's just my preference because that's kind of how I started on one of my channels, where I actually started with $100 and did $10 a week to really help it grow, get more comfortable, and show the process of actually investing over time with small dollar amounts. So I really wanted to put this inside of a budget. Again, don't really see that too often. And then we also see here towards a little bit of the bottom, there's two more sections, but this one right over here is the cash flow. So this is everything that we have coming in versus everything that we have coming out. And this is all done automatically for us as well. And we actually have it for the budgeted side as well as the actual side. So you can really see how things kind of progress over the given month to be able to calculate properly for yourself. And then probably my favorite part of my budget template over here that we could actually use on Google Sheets. By the way, this is also compatible with like Excel and pretty much anywhere else that takes those types of files, is the net worth section. And this is personally my favorite. So right over here, you can see we have a section for assets as well as liabilities. And so on the left-hand side of each section for like assets and liabilities, you would be putting in what those items are, and then the dollar amounts on the right-hand side of those things. And what's really cool is here towards the bottom, you can have a net worth goal if you wanted to, like $1 million, $500,000, maybe getting back to zero if you are in the heavy negative there. And what that will do for you is kind of help automatically calculate all of these things together. So that way you can see how far away you are from the goal, but you can actually have a visual on all your debts put together. And I know sometimes it can be tough to be able to see them, but knowing where you're at with those things actually helps you attack those that much faster as well. So like I mentioned, let's go ahead and plug in some numbers here so you can actually see this in action. Again, whether you want to make it for yourself or do that purchase on your own. So if we go back up here to our income section, so let's say in a given month, we make $6,000. So we can put in $6,000 right over here, and that's on our budgeted, right? If we get any extra bonuses or extra money, maybe we say, hey, for side hustles, we do an extra $500 every single month, and we start plugging these numbers away. Now, obviously, based off of what you actually make, let's say you make $6,125, it'll show that difference kept in green, or if it's in the negative here, it will be in red. So if we didn't make any side hustle money this time around, we know that we were negative 500, or let's just say we actually made $365. We'll still see it in the negative because it was less than what we budgeted for. So our total actual difference based off of our actuals would be $10 based off of what we were expecting to make within that budget. Same thing pretty much applies here for our cost of living. If we have a $1,600 budget for our mortgage or rent, you know, and let's just say it's exactly $1,600 because that's pretty much stable there for us, that's an easy one for us to go with. But obviously something like groceries is a little bit more tough to be able to be right on the money sometimes. So let's just go ahead and say you spend $500 a month on groceries, but you actually spent $516.55. That will put you in the red for this section right over here. And if I actually scroll down in this section here, you'll see that all play out at the bottom. But if we keep scrolling down over here where our cash flow is, you're gonna be able to see what the net is. And again, if it's net negative, it'll show up here in that way. If it's net positive, it will show up here in that way as well. Obviously, in this example here that I have put in so far, you could see that our income vastly outweighs our expenses in this moment. So we have a net positive of dollar amounts. And I just want to quickly show you also some of these examples here for what we have for like the sinking fund. Again, if you actually put in anything here for you, so let's say you want to put in $100 every month for Christmas, right? And then we go ahead and say, hey, actually we were able to do $125. There's obviously a difference of 25 bucks, whatever the prior balance is here. And then obviously the new balance here for us as well. So if the prior balance was $1,000, you see that the new balance automatically accounted for the prior balance and then adding in that new balance for us as well to show us what our new balance is total. Again, these do have to be updated on a monthly basis, but if you actually go down here towards the bottom and duplicate these pages once a month, you can go ahead and even connect them if you wanted to yourself. Now, obviously, same thing kind of applies when it comes to the investing and retirement sections as well. You could put your budgeted and your actuals. These ones we don't have the actual numbers for, but of course you could always either add them yourself in the sidebars over here if you really wanted to in the section, or just kind of have this on the plate just to know what you're actually putting into the accounts themselves. And then you can see over here in the assets, again, let's go ahead and just say something like you have your house or your home. And let's just say that your home is worth $300,000. Oh, I put 30. There we go, $300,000, but obviously you might have a home loan, so you would probably put it in here, and let's just say your home loan is $265 right over here. So our home is worth $300,000. The loan that we have left is $265. So you can see here we have a net worth of $35,000. So, you know, obviously if you have cars, if you have any other kind of assets or liabilities, you can place them in here. Same thing with your debts. Even if you put your debts in on the top section over here in the red, you can still add them in here in the liability section, so that way you can account for them as well when it comes to your overall net worth. And then the percentages right here, depending on what you put in for your goal, as well as the amount to the goal as well too. So if your goal, let's just say, is actually getting back to, because I said zero, but let's just say your goal is $500,000 right over here. That percentage, of course, is going to automatically change, and the amount to the goal has also changed as well. So what's really nice is the purchase with us. If you want to go ahead and purchase this one, we'll have all those numbers already set for you. We'll actually have them in lock as well too. So if you accidentally try to change numbers that shouldn't be changed, it will actually give you a little bit of a warning in case you want to make sure you don't go through that process of changing those numbers. But everything else that's opened up and available for you can plug in yourself. And obviously, if you ever need to, you can always even go ahead and just insert additional rows if you wanted to, and all the math will still add up all properly for you. Now, like I mentioned, you can go ahead and set something up like this just yourself if you really wanted to. Obviously, you could take some of these ideas and other people's ideas and mesh them into your own. If you want to save a lot of time and hassle, go ahead and check out that link in the show notes down below for you. That's just going to be a couple bucks to go ahead and get you a filed copy of this, so you can go ahead and either just start right away or take this information and make it, again, also your own. Now, there is more to keep on learning when it comes to managing your money, and no worries, I got you covered. Check out our video right over here on screen to keep learning.